Hello everyone, I am MG and I just want to talk about my experience publishing my first webcomic ever in Tapastic and what I have learned about it. So I published my first issue in November 29. Well, my first pages were like good but not good enough, so it didn't hook that much readers. Now I have changed them and they are better now, so you can check in the link down below if you want to check the comic out. And something that I realized is that to promote it, it's super easy throughout the internet, but it's difficult to convert because people have to make an account to give it a like, to subscribe to it. Chances are they are not going to do that only for just one story. They should do it because like my story should be good enough, and I am going to do another experiment about that. But for now, when I promoted it, like I had like 500 views on my comic, but nobody subscribed outside Tapastic. Now Tapastic was much easier. Yes, there are people that only are there to read, but that's rare. Most of the people that I have found, they have a comic or are planning to have a comic, and that's why they are on the site. And that's something that I think is not that good because, you know, you need lots of readers, right? And I realize now that a very good way to promote yourself is in the Tapastic forum. You can, artists are really supportive and they are very nice, and you can have like one kind of like intro, like you can choose your category in the Tapastic forum and ask a question, and then people can answer and you can have conversations and stuff like that. So yeah, it was very nice to talk to all those artists and creators, and actually when I did that I gained most of my followers, like I think 13, well, all of my followers technically except one, them checking out my comic because they are already on Tapastic, so it's easier. And I do not know yet more, but as soon as I know more, of course I will make videos about that. But this is just like on my experience for now, like I am just starting out. Another thing that I found out is that it's very common that after someone subscribed to your story, you can have like a thank you note on their wall. They have some kind of wall, like a Facebook wall, kind of, like you can post things there and they do not have to give you permission, you can do whatever you want. There are many people who have their thank you notes, and I think that has two things. Number one, it's very cute that you're like saying thank you for supporting my story. It's something that I worked so hard on, like all creators are saying that. And another thing is that if your artwork is good enough, or you have like a interesting art style or something, characters, whatever, when other people check that people's wall, they can see that artwork and maybe want to follow your story. I personally think that I found 2 people by this method, 2 of the 14 subscribers that I have right now. Something that they recommend, the Tapastic forum recommends, is like answering all the comments possible, but without seeming desperate, so do not answer actually all the comments. And that is very hard for me because I always like to answer lots of comments, but I also think that it's kind of good because if you leave a comment in each page, it gets kind of like there are too many comments sometimes. And yeah, there are many more recommendations in the Tapastic forum. It's like an endless source of information. There are many things that I have learned. Now, on the technical aspect, even though I will make a tutorial about this in the future, I wanted to make my comic friendly both for mobile phones, for smartphones, and for the website. So personally, the font, I know that it has to be big enough to read on the phone, but not so big that it annoys web users. So I personally use the font back issues and I use 9 pixels now. I think that is a very good size and it actually translates really well on phone. If you want to check it out, you can download the Tapas app and check my comic, and you can see like that font is 9 pixels of size. So if you want to make smaller or bigger, like you can do that. I do not recommend bigger because web users get annoyed by that font can be too big for them. Use my comic if you want as a reference. Another thing that I figured is that when you make a chapter on Tapastic, there is a choice to set the thumbnail of your episode, so when you share it, that thumbnail appears wherever you are sharing your episode. If you are using Google Chrome, it doesn't change, it doesn't work, but if you are using another explorer, I think I personally use Firefox to correct all that stuff. Use Firefox to correct the thumbnail of your episode. Another thing that I want to mention, if you publish your episode, you can still make changes to the pages later, and it doesn't matter. You can do whatever changes you want to make. And if you, for example, upload a page and you got it wrong and then you want to delete that page and upload the right one, you can do that and the readers won't even notice because the website is well built in that aspect, and that's very, very cool. You can also schedule your episode so it uploads on a certain time. Yes, that's all that I have learned in my first weeks. I'm looking forward to learn more. The community is very sweet. I really like that. And yes, I am working very hard on the comic, and let's see how this goes. Question of the day is, do you plan to make a comic, or are you making a comic, and will you upload it to Tapastic someday? Thanks for listening, for watching, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe on that red button over there. And yes, I will see you in my next video. Bye!